Welcome to Bennett's BikeSocial. We are here in southern Spain at Almeria to test BMW's new 1000 RR for 2023. Now let me run first of all through some of the changes. So it's not drastic, we've gone up 3 horsepower to 206.5 horsepower, so we'll round that off to 207 horsepower. We've got slightly larger screen. The head angle has changed a little bit, so we've got slightly relaxed. We've gone up 1 tooth on the rear sprocket. This model has some of the M package fitted, like the carbon wheels and the exhaust and the dynamic suspension. But the big talking point is the rider aids and the electronics. So now we have a steering measurement. So let me put it into simple terms, because that's the way I like to work. When you slide a bike, you steer into the slide. If you think of something extreme like speedway, so speedway bikes go round the oval, they steer opposite lock into the slide. Now if you can imagine that you could measure how much they're steering, we would know how much it's sliding. And that's a very basic, simplistic way of what BMW have done. So now we've got a measuring device on the front end which shows how much you're steering into the slide. So we've still got launch control, slide control, traction control, anti-wheelie, everything that the old bike has, but now that slide control is much more accurate, because when the bike starts to slide, when the front wheel goes out of line with the back wheel and you turn into the slide, that can be measured, because we can measure how much you're steering into the slide. Now that does 2 things, because we slide coming out of a corner, we steer into it, and we slide going into a corner, because we're steering into it, we're steering into the slide. And again, the big extreme is speedway, because you steer into the slide. I appreciate this is probably hitting 10% of the market, because these rider aids are so advanced, but they're there and they do work, and it makes the slide control much more accurate. So let's look at the slide control to start with. You need to be in the minus DCT, so you need the DCT to be quite low, because if the DCT is plus, DCT stops the rear spinning, so you won't get slide. So you need the DCT to be reduced, then you will start to get the slide, then you can turn into the slide. And this is much more accurate. So what this means is you're getting more longevity out of a tyre also, because before the bike would think it was sliding when it wasn't actually sliding, but now we know it is sliding because you're steering into the slide. It's a really advanced system that's taken us 6 fast sessions at Almeria to kind of get my head around, and I'm still not there. I still need the Bridgestone Slick to be completely knackered so I can get some slides going, because I just don't have that skill. This is for a really advanced group, but when that slide does happen, or when I do make that mistake, when I hit that curb and I turn into the slide, I know that it's going to be there to help me.
Over the crest. It is my favourite bit. Oh, that's a catch!
Now the second way this helps is when you're going into a corner, because when you go into a corner and you start to back in, you turn into the slide, and again we can measure how much you're turning into the slide. And the ABS and the engine brake assist compensates for this. So the example is, you brake really heavy into a turn, you've got loads of engine braking. As you're braking heavy, you can jump on the back pedal as hard as you want. But as you're braking heavy, you feel the back to come round. The system knows that the back is coming round because you're steering into the slide. So it then reduces the engine braking by adding a little bit of fuel in. I mean, this happens in less than a second. This is split second stuff. And then that brings the back end back in. So you brake, you're going into the slide, I've got loads of engine braking, I haven't got loads of engine braking, comes back in line and you roll into the corner. That is clever stuff. That is stuff that nobody else has. And again, it took me probably 4 sessions to do this, and you've just got to jump on the brakes, turn into the corner and just rely on everything. It's a really impressive system. But let's just put the new steering and that to one side. Let's just look at it as a motorcycle, as a 207 near as damn it horsepower superbike. I was a little bit nervous before today because this is a lot of bike, but I've never, let me think about this, have I ever? Probably never ridden a 200 horsepower superbike that was this easy to ride. It shouldn't be this easy to ride. Yeah, we've got the carbon wheels on our test bike, we've got Bridgestone slicks, we've got the perfect conditions and a great track. But the way it steers, the way it holds its line, the way you can rely on the rider aids. For the first 2 sessions, I didn't want to reduce the traction to try to slide, so I had traction on +3 and +4. And literally come out the corner, 100% gas, 100% gas, and it holds it. It is such an impressive bike. The brakes are so strong. It's everything. It's the braking, it's the handling, it's the ease of use, it's the steering. I'm so impressed by this bike. Yes, the new advanced rider aids are probably only going to fit 10% of the market, but it's nice to know they're there. The probably brake assist will hit 20% of the market, because even I can feel that. But all in all, just an exceptional bike. As I said, I was slightly nervous and slightly worried about riding today because we had a lot of sessions to get used to this bike. So by the 5th session, I'm giggling in my crash helmet. I'm trusting the brake assist going into the corner. I know it's going to bring it back. I'm trusting the traction control. I'm trusting the cornering ABS, because now we have cornering ABS even if you're in the race mode, in the Race Pro, sorry. So you can go into the corner, brake as heavy as you want, on Bridgestone slicks, you've got cornering ABS, you turn it, it's lightweight, it feels agile, you gas it, you rely on the traction. It's the closest thing, I think, to a video game in real life. But the consequences are, when you crash here, it'll hurt, and you're not just going to fall off your sofa. But I am blown away by how they've made this so usable and rideable. But the big test is when it goes up against the competition. This class is probably the most highly contested category in motorcycling. Everybody wants to be king of the superbikes, and everybody's got around the same horsepower and a kind of around the same kind of rider aids. But I think BMW have just gone up a notch with the new rider aids, and I don't think there's a superbike on the planet that is this usable and easy to ride. But the big test will be when we get them all together. I might have to eat my own words. Is the Panigale or the Honda Fireblade going to be more manageable and more easy? What's going to lap the fastest? I don't know, because we don't have those bikes here. But to ride this bike in isolation here in Almeria on Bridgestone slicks, I am blown away.